Gemini 2.5 is here, and it's not just another AI model. In this video, we'll explore how to harness its power using APIs and build an MCP server for seamless integration with Cursor. You'll learn to set up Gemini 2.5, create a chat app, and see it in action. We'll guide you through configuring the MCP server and using Python scripts to interact with Gemini. By the end, you'll have a dynamic chat application leveraging the latest AI advancements. Let's get started. I'm diving into Gemini 2.5, a top-tier AI model. This page breaks down its capabilities, with benchmarks that are nothing short of impressive. In short, it surpasses all other top-tier models like o3 Mini or Grok 3. Let's see if Gemini 2.5 can crack a joke. Gemini dives deep into humor, breaking it down into categories like animals and food. It's like a comedy masterclass, but for machines. Now, let's examine the Python code so we can reproduce the result locally. That's much more than I expected for producing such a micro joke. Let's head over to the Gemini API reference. Here, we dive into guides for installing and using the API to craft engaging content. The example in the API docs looks much simpler. Let's copy the code and start building a project. We dive into a new project and watch Cursor spring to life. First up, we create a file named app.py. Here, we paste the example script straight from the API docs. Simple, right? Without an API key, Gemini won't even blink. Therefore, we need a real API key. To grab that key, we head back to Google Studio and create a new one. Great, we've generated our API key. In the code, we replace the placeholder with the new key. Okay, let's try it out. We start the script with python app.py. I'm curious what the output is. AI learns from data to make predictions or decisions. Now, let's update the model to the new Gemini 2.5 Pro version. Let's rerun the script using the updated model and observe the differences in the output. You'll notice that it takes a little bit longer, and we see that the response now includes much more detailed information. Now let's focus on MCP. I'm setting up an MCP server so Cursor can use this new model and create a dream team with Sonnet 3.7 and Gemini 2.5. To do this, we'll create a new server file and insert a simple snippet that establishes a minimalistic MCP server. This server will include a basic tool called add, which allows us to add two numbers. To ensure the server functions properly with Cursor, we need to verify the exact command for the Cursor settings. This involves identifying the absolute Python path and the precise location of the server.py file. I'm combining the command using the absolute Python path and the server file path. Once we have this information, we can proceed to the Cursor settings and focus on configuring the MCP servers. Now, under Settings, go to Cursor Settings. Here we configure our new MCP server. In the dialog box, we name it Gemini MCP and choose the type as Command. Let's enter the command path for the server file and click Add. Now, it appears enabled in our server list, ready for use. Let's proceed by using our new server to call the add function in the chat panel. Let's see the MCP tool in action in our chat panel, triggering the add function. We watch the result process and confirm it runs. The add function returns the result, calculated by the server script. We're enhancing our MCP server by updating server.py to utilize the logic from app.py. This involves instructing Cursor to apply the logic it identifies in app.py to our server.py file. Cursor begins to extend the logic, recognizing that the app includes functionality for calling the Google Gemini API to generate content. It then updates the server.py file by adding a new function called Generate AI Content. Okay, let's have a look at how our new function looks. We see that it's more or less a copy of the logic we already had in the server.py. Let's have a look at Cursor settings. We go to MCP and check if our Gemini MCP server now has this new function available as a tool. For this, we click on Reload, and now we can see that we have the new function Generate AI Content also available. Great. Let's try it out and see if Cursor can now communicate with Gemini. I'm using the Generate AI Content function to create a joke for you. The MCP tool is called to generate our joke. Like in the previous example, it thinks a lot about the alternatives and makes a big deal out of it. Now, our joke appears, why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. We see how the new MCP tool is being called with specific parameters, using the prompt, tell me a funny, clean joke. Now let's do something meaningful. We'll use Gemini to get suggestions on how to turn this simple app example into a real chat application. We see how it calls the new MCP tool function to interact with Gemini. Cursor uses this information from Gemini to build the project accordingly. Cursor then creates a new file, chatapp.py, to develop this into a more interactive chat application. Let's increase the playback speed until Cursor has finished building the chat application. Now it's complete and we see a much more sophisticated chat solution. Let's try it out. Let's run our chatapp.py script in the terminal to start chatting with Gemini 2.5. Now it says chat with Gemini and we're entering a friendly hi. See how Gemini begins processing. Gemini replies to our hi with, hello there, how can I help you today? Now we type, what is the meaning of life? Let's see how Gemini handles this deep question, showcasing its ability to provide thoughtful insights. Let's check out Gemini's response. The terminal shows different takes on life's meaning: personal growth, relationships, happiness. Next, we execute webchatapp.py. This step uses our web-based app to expand interaction with Gemini, which was also created by the teamwork of Gemini and Cursor. The terminal shows it's listening on port 5000. In the chat interface, typing hi returns a friendly greeting. Now, when we type tell a joke, the AI processes our request. Gemini replied with a classic pun about atoms, adding a smiley for flair. This shows how our chat app effectively uses AI to deliver delightful interactions.